Hello everyone, welcome to another video from the Mighty Demon Overlord. And today I'm coming at you with some new finished and painted Reaper Bones miniatures. These will mostly be from the new Reaper Bones black miniatures that are a little bit stronger and supposedly take paint a little better. I'm not really so certain about the second part, but I mean they are a little bit tougher, I'll give them that. They are pretty solid miniatures. So, starting up here, we're going to go with a nice large class Undead Creature. That works great for a miniature as well as terrain piecing on the beach or something like that, or by a lakeshore or by oceanic, sorry. And we have this zombie shark. As you can see here, he has a lot of battle damage with some little bits of red, touches of some green for rotting internal organs, and then like a nice white mouth, as that's a symbolization that he has been dead for a while and his blood in his mouth has washed away, as well as a nice rotted empty eye socket. So you can see a lot of nice pieces. He took a nice semi-gloss coating of a sealant so that he looks nice and shiny, as you can see. And the great thing is he is a good large. He doesn't really fit well on the base due to his fins. And instead of constructing a flight base on my own, I decided I'd leave him baseless, so that way I could also just lay him down like this on the side, and he could be a nice dead shark found on the shoreline. Give the group something to investigate or maybe rip apart. There we go. Next up here on the little group additions, we have the Thresher Snail. Now, obviously, they called it that, so probably as to not possibly be sued by Wizards of the Coast, and they're probably ownership of the of the Flail Snail's name. Obviously, it's got also the eye stalks to make it a little different, but it looks really good as a Flail Snail. And gave it a nice brown coating like a normal slug with a snail would have with a nice green. There's a nice little mouth here and little eyeballs, but I like the big old flails there. They look really nice. And for him, for his flavoring, I just gave him a nice blue shell with a nice orange spiracle, and then gave his base a nice flocking. As you can see, he came out very nice. And a good semi-glossing on him with a spraying of sealant made him look very nice and very slime-covered, as most snails and slugs are. So, in other words, it worked out very good. Did not mean to drop him. Should probably stop doing that. Anyway, moving along here, we're going to get to some of the more impressive creatures, I guess you would say. At least the more plentiful. And those would be the fungus and mushroom creatures. They're the most plentiful of this new order. So starting up here, we're going to go with these small little mushrooms. These happen to be different little mushrooms I happen to be working on. As you can see here, there's a nice orange shiny top mushroom. Nice white and grayed inside base to make it, or underside to make it look like it's more of a dead rotting mushroom. But, you know, nice white mushroom. As you can see, it is a good medium-class mushroom. It would fit in that space. The next up here, we have this one of these shrieking mushrooms. They are all the same pack called the shrieking mushrooms, but this is the only one I noticed that actually has mouths on it to shriek. I gave him just a nice blue cap. I was going to give him a little touch-ups there, but then I was like, nah. I mean, he's already weird enough with those creepy mouths. And I gave him flesh toning, a little gray basing, as he's probably growing from rock. Next up here, we actually have my little... I like to call this my spore mushroom because I feel it would shoot spores with the purple and then the blue, and then the white is a warning color. You know, white and blues like that are usually a warning color to, you know, stay away. Now let's do a little comparison of the size of these things. Obviously they fit in a square. Let's see how they look next to, like, say, the fungus of another type of fungus things. One moment here just to alter my camera anglement. It's a little off. There we are. Sorry, just change my angle of the camera a little bit better. So here is the, what are they called? The purple fungus from Pathfinder. Or from Pathfinder. I think it was from the Maze of Death they came out. As you can see, they're reasonable within that scale. They're slightly shorter due to the lack of not having as much upgrowth. But I could definitely see them easily being in a fungal forest together. Another fungal thing we're going to go with is the Ghost Fungus, another from Maze of Death. And as you can see, those mushrooms could easily be growing out of his little back, which he's like a little fungal dog critter, you know. And I mean, as you can see, he easily fits alongside those mushrooms. Now, we're going to also do another quick comparison because the next two up here are actually fungal creatures as well. But before I get to the other two bad boys, we're going to go with some, like, humanoids. Here we have a mold runt, also from the Jungle Pathfinder. Sorry, I'm forgetting all of them a little bit. As you can see, he's definitely smaller than those mushrooms, and he's a medium-class creature, so he works. Next up, we have the Bones Black Fungal Guardian. So as you can see, I gave him just a little bit of white spotting on top of his head. He's got nice blue and white, kind of like this shroom, that kind of made him like inspired of it. I kind of gave him the offset coloration of this. because I felt like maybe he guards the spore mushrooms. And as you see, he's got just those little white marks on his face there. But he has a very large lean to him, though, I would know. So I would say if you are basing him, base him slightly off middle. You don't want to be middle because then he actually can survive, moving around a little bit. He's not as top heavy where he'll fall over. Next up here, we have the Fungal Bruiser. Now, this bad boy looks pretty aggressive. As you can see, I gave him a nice sort of a tannish skin coloration with a brown growing on him. Just for like a hair with some nice little claws. Gave him like a blue and purplish mouth there, just to get some color in his face, mostly in the eyes. The underside of the mushroom, as you can see, is a nice brown. And then the top brown here, with a nice yellow on this little spot here, which I feel could maybe fire some spores. But with him, definitely could base him right in the middle. He's pretty single heavy. Due to his big old, mighty, large size arm there, he's pretty good centered. So definitely recommend if you want a good bunch of some fungal bruisers. Now let's compare them to some more fungal creatures. We're going to go with some myconoids. Now, with myconoids, there is a good amount. You have the old Dungeons & Dragons models as well as the unpainted. So let's go with all of them. Here's the old-style myconoid. It's a guard. See, next to him, he's easily fitting in as a good size. We have the regular myconoids, as you can see there. And you see they all fit together perfectly as a nice fungal forest. Or fungal residence, I would say. Let's move these away since they are not part of this little gaggle, so to speak. They were just comparisons. Here we are. There. And that's how far we've gotten so far. So if you're still with me, I thank you. And while I'm getting the next miniature over here off the table without messing them up, let me just quickly say, do check out our podcast for the Dice and Dummies, where I am our current DM for Season 2. And if you want to watch Season 1, they are all out there and all available. We've just recently gotten back from doing a hiatus, so we're trying to get a lot of episodes recorded so we can kind of make a lot of content for our viewers. It's kind of apologies for disappearing for so long. So do subscribe and check us out. And if you want to leave us a review and ask us any questions or get a hold of the podcast through our Twitters, go for it. And if you want to leave a comment down below or any questions, once again, go for it. And please do like and subscribe as it helps keep the channel living. It helps me find more reason and drive to show you these awesome alternatives that you could use for your Dungeons & Dragons games. So next up, we have another miniature. It is the Terror Bird, or as they call it in Dungeons & Dragons, an Axebeak. I don't know what they actually call this thing. I think they called it just an Axebeak once again. I don't think they actually... So this is actually the second modeling of an Axebeak I've ever done. I did post one on my Twitter account probably long ago. As you can see, she's kind of like a big brown chicken. Sorry to say that. Sorry to insult chickens. Actually, wait, no. That'd be an upgrade for a chicken. Anyway, these are a good large class creature. As you can see here, they definitely would look like it. Nice, strong, long legs. And now you might be thinking, is it fully normal? Well, I happen to have the male version that I have here. And you might be thinking, what's the difference? Well, female birds are usually more dull and brown coloration, while male birds, like this, are usually more reds and whites and lighter body types to try and be flashier, get the female's attention. That's why he has this dark brown body and a white head to help pop his colors. And now if you will notice on his ridge there, using his head as a little bit of a coloration, there is a difference. With his, I actually had to cut back this part off her model to make her a little bit more plain. I kept the little tuft crest as maybe like a, aggravational stage, but as you can see next to each other on the board, they look like a good set of mates. You know, a nice little set of parent birds. Maybe if you got like some small class birds or something along those lines, you could definitely use them as like a, family for them. And now let's take him out of there since he's not part of this new group. There we go, just have the camera adjust. Moving along here, we are going to get to the next set here. And these ones are basically, in a way, primitive human savages. Let's put the mushrooms kind of like, a little varied. These ones are kind of, I know I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying it, but like these are pretty much just like early hominid monkey people, as you can see here. Very simple design. Bone tools of the stick as well. I mean, gave them a little bit of hair. They did have some like hairline, so I made like, some almost styling of hair. This one happens to be the bald guy. Kind of the nicknames, I call him Bald Guy or Spear Guy if I have to. Next up, we have the guy who I'd assume was like the leader, as he has a full head of hair and a nice little bit of a beard going on there. With a nice spike club there, a little better. He has a little gourd on one side. The other side, he has a leather pouch. He actually has a nice good loincloth on him. Little tooth there dangling on his neck. So, he looks pretty cool, and he's ready to, bash in some human settlers he happens to find, or any of your party. Next, we have the little monkey boy, I guess, or child. Definitely an infant. I gave him just a little bit of some shading, a little light dry brushing to see his color, but he is pretty simple. He doesn't even really have a good loincloth. He's just got a little gourd on his side there, and he's carrying what I made like a little egg in a basket. Maybe they robbed one of these terror bird eggs or something like that, or a bird's nest. And maybe these terror birds are coming after him. That'd be a great way to use him as like something for your group to walk upon, and then maybe these guys turn on them after. Next up, we have this female version. Now, obviously, she is nude on top, so, I gave her just little titties, and then she's got like some nice orange pendant there, a little orange on the oryx, and I gave her an orange little sack there just to kind of make it so I got that aesthetic going. Maybe she's like the shaman of the group, or maybe she just happens to use a skull for battle. And, as a skull goes, I guess you could just kind of use it for whatever. But that is probably like a good oryx skull, not really so much, I think, a cow skull. And now moving on here, we're getting down to the last little bits here of the minis. There's only about 3 left. And for the next one, we're going to bring in the big dinosaur. Now, you might be thinking, which one? This is the clubtail miniature. Now, obviously, I don't know if D&D even has an Ankylosaur. I think they had one for the Deserts of Desolation. It was like a big... I put him on a huge base because Ankylosaurs are huge class creatures, and he'd be a good fill-in for that. And I wanted to make him, since T-Rex is kind of big for his base as well, why not? The old spikes there, a lot of work. A little semi-gloss on just the back of his shell to give it a little sheen and shine. And he looks pretty good. He's ready to go on the board and thrash down some enemies. There you go. Just do that so we can get everyone in the shot. There we are. And now we're going to get to the last 2. They are going to be compared with an older version of their sculpts, as well as a lizard folk for just giggles. It is the dinosaurian barbarian kind of groups. This one here is the armorback. I made him a little like transparent color from front to back. I wanted his shell to be different. And here he is holding like a little stone knife and a stone axe with a bone handle. He's got a couple skulls on his like little chest piece there. And I gave him some green leather. It's like, they are surrounded by reptiles, so I figured leather they'd craft would probably be greenish, like reptiles, reptile skin type ideal. I do like how he has his own little club tail. Maybe if you wanted to work that in the game, give him a club tail attack. Maybe make these guys like little tough bruisers, like good AC on them. Maybe not the most physically gifted, but definitely like little bruisers nonetheless. So keep him here, as he's going to be compared in a second. Let me just move everyone around. There we go. And the next new one I got is the Blood Crest. This one's obviously based on the Parasaurolophus, with a nice little club with spike pieces on it. Also the green leather. I did give him a little bit of brown leather as well, because I figured this guy looks a little bit more speedier, so maybe he might catch those fast-running mammals you might get. So he might be able to actually craft that kind of leather instead of wait for a large saurian beast to die and roll over dead. So gave him a little bit of some green splotching on there. He is a two-tone skin colorational. Now, obviously, he is dinosaurian skin. I just made him lighter colored. And then we're going to compare him to the T-Rex. This is an older model, obviously, as it's metal. As you can see here from the bottom. Full metal. This boy is heavy. And he's and his paint job is held up over the time. Now, as you can see here to the Blood Crest, he's definitely bigger, more aggressive looking. His axe is definitely more imposing of a weapon. And then to the Armorback, who is sort of ironically the smallest of them. Not that big, he's a pretty small boy, but I assume this shell here will probably make his AC pretty good. And anyway, let's get him out of the way since I don't need him. Let's compare them to Lizard Folk. Now, this is a Lizard Folk female with an actual female sculpt. So, actual female proportions, as you can see on her design there. Very nice. And there she is next to the Blood Crest. Here she is next to the Armorback. As you can see, definitely in scale. I see no problem with that. The Armorback's a little small, but other than that, no problem. And just for quick reference, just heard of the size of the Rex. There we go. Now, as you can see, the Saurianic humanoids, or Saurian humanoids, would probably be easily able to fit into any group. And then you have these other awesome creatures ready to roll, take down parties, and rip them up. So that's all I got for you today, guys. Like I've said, stay tuned for more videos in the future. Check out our podcast, The Nice Dummies. And please do like and subscribe down below. It helps keep my channel going. As well, guys, I hope everyone stays safe. Don't get hurt out there. And anyways, stay tuned and have a great one, guys.